Welcome back to another episode of Cobra Kai Companion, and I am Peter.
And I am Brianna.
And guys, it's finally here. We finally got the release date for season 3.
Yes, we do.
So I don't know. I guess if you put on your thinking cap and rewatch the trailer, you do get the New Year's theme. Help me out with the title again.
Auld Lang Syne.
Yeah, that's the one. Bless you. Yeah, that plays in the background. So I think that was a bit of a clue for us. And I think at one point there's text on the screen that says "kicking the new year" or something like that.
Yeah, it does. I've got the actual announcement that Netflix posted today
Hmm.
that we can play if you are so interested.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, all right, here we go.
Nah, too long.
Send it to the internet!
There we go. That was it. And the description on Netflix's YouTube page is actually kind of hilarious because it's posted by Johnny.
Hmm.
And he talks about how we've been waiting long enough, so he went and he talked to his friend, the pawn shop guy.
Lyle.
He didn't even call him Lyle; he just
No,
called him the
right.
the pawn shop guy.
I don't even think Johnny knows his name.
No, I seriously doubt it. So, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Was talking with watch party at almost 3 o'clock in the morning because we kind of found out accidentally several hours before we were supposed to. And what was I was going somewhere with that. I'm so tired. I've had
It's
like
all
three
right.
hours of
I'm
sleep.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure it'll come back to you. But the Twitter account that shared it, it was in Portuguese, and in the translation, it was saying something about the international Netflix account on Instagram, I believe it was, had shared it, and somebody had recorded it. I might even be mixing up your live stream with Watch Party now, like who got what information. But basically, it did come out prematurely. And for those that were still up on the West Coast, it wasn't relatively too late for me. So I did see it as well. But since it seemed to have been a big boo boo, I didn't really want to share it until it was official. And here we are now.
Right. And I remember what it was now. It was that Johnny hacking Netflix to change the release date is the end of what was a actually brilliantly conceived marketing scheme, where Johnny was hacking the Twitter feed and posting all kinds of things on there. And this it was actually it was a brilliant idea. um it there was some execution problems. And Chris, or watch party, and I were talking this morning when we were on about the chat that the three of us were having when we found it. And we were all kind of lost. Like, what do we do? Do we acknowledge this? Do we do what Hayden's doing and just post a whole bunch of nonsense to try to deflect from it? Do we do what Hurwitz and Heel did and just kind of go silent running? Do we pretend this isn't happening? And in the end, decided that we kind of did have to acknowledge it, just because there were already two well-known Cobra Kai channels that had picked it up and run with it. It was spreading across social media. It started on the Portuguese side, moved over to the Spanish-speaking side, and it was spreading pretty quick. So ignoring it wouldn't have made much sense. We couldn't. You can't put the you can't put the cat back in the box once Schrodinger knows it's real. So
Right. Well, all things considered, it was a matter of hours, and I think for those, I would say a lot of people that were maybe upset by that. I think maybe after today, they're feeling a little bit better that, the confirmation is out there now. It is on New Year's Day. It will be midnight on the Pacific Standard Time, because Netflix is based out of San Francisco. So we do know that. And that's also what time seasons 1 and 2 also released when they came to Netflix. Along with the confirmation, which, you heard the clip. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's actually pretty great. I do like this better. I don't know. I was kind of thinking back to like season 2, where they had the puzzle reveal with the April 24th date. That was kind of fun, but I was working and it was kind of getting a little like, okay, we get it. This is a game, but you're making a lot of people unproductive. At least this was just a video that we can watch. So maybe this one was a little bit easier for me to consume. But along with the confirmation, we did get a plethora of articles. I shared a few in our group page here. Variety did a write-up. Deadline, comicbook.com was shared, and let's see, Collider as well. And I was unable to read the entire article because I don't have the subscription to it, but The Athletic also interviewed the big three. And a little bit about what I was able to see on their website. At one point, Hayden was saying how that they can kind of play with the universe, and he kind of referenced Breaking Bad, where they had the spinoff Better Call Saul in the El Camino movie, which was kind of Jesse Pinkman's like what happened to him, kind of leading up to the events of the Breaking Bad finale. So I'm excited about that, you guys. I mean, we can. I think we've talked about this before when there was news about like possible spinoffs and stuff that, perhaps we can get a young Miyagi. People want baby Miyagi, and maybe we can get Kreese and Silver in Vietnam, So it sounds like there's a lot of ideas out there, and the move to Netflix nothing better could have happened to our show that could, what was once what I called criminally underseen.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely not that anymore.
No, not at all.
No.
One other takeaway from a couple of the articles that they did mention that on the January 2nd, there is going to be a Netflix after party where some of the stars will be. They do not list the stars, but of the after party, I'm trying to see which article had it. I know Variety mentioned it too. Let's see here.
Watch Party retweeted it too.
Yeah, a lot of the articles, they kind of basically say the same thing. Only a couple of them, at least as far as I know, they do mention the after party. And I just had it. Okay, it is going to be hosted by David Spade, Fortune Feimster, and London Hughes. Again, the Netflix after party on January 2nd. It doesn't explicitly say. I'm assuming it's going to be on Netflix.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would be a logical place for them to put the Netflix after party show.
Sure, and I'm sure eventually Netflix will put that up on YouTube as well.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. All the marketing that Netflix does on YouTube kind of cracks me up every single time.
Yeah, and as far as I can tell, there has been only one brand new artwork to come out, and it is the background that was that the official account used for Twitter and Facebook. So if you're looking for a new badass cover art for your profile or whatever you want to use it for, you can go on there for now. At least that's where I've seen the two. I did share a good chunk of it on our Instagram account. Basically, you got a lot of the principal characters, and there is a bonsai tree with a one cobra, like a really long cobra, kind of slithering through the branches. It's actually kind of cool, and we've seen something like this from Hayes art before too.
Yes. The concept of the cobra wrapped around the bonsai is one that is very, very dear to my heart. Just in general, I think it's a fantastic image. They've got one of the official shirts that's got the two logos combined too, which is pretty awesome. There's also, if it's the same art studio that did the art for the season 1 and 2 releases in August, which I don't know why it wouldn't be, they have an Instagram of their own. So we can go and look and see if they've, posted anything of the season 3, the wallpapers and backgrounds and things like that. If they're going to change them, I sincerely hope they do. I mean, the season 1 and season 2 art is phenomenally beautiful, but we should have new art for the new season.
I would expect that would come soon, now that the release date for season 3 has been moved up. So they have, 8 days at the time of this live stream, and we haven't had any character posters of any sort yet for you content creators that like to work on edits and such. So I would expect those to come pretty soon, soon.
I'm hoping so. With everything that ended up on IMDb last night, whether intentionally or otherwise, we're still not entirely sure whether that was a leak or something Netflix did on purpose. There is a ton of images there now, and some of them are very, very potentially spoilery. There are, I was saying last night that there's probably 3 that are bad enough that I wish I hadn't seen them. So be very careful on IMDb.
Yeah. And a lot of people have been kind of sharing those and tagging us as well. And I'm not retweeting or anything just because, like you said, I think Netflix did do it intentionally. Now, whether they had the big 3, in that circle, in the know, that part I don't think to be true. Because I feel they also would have shared the images, maybe.
Well, marketing is generally its own monster. And it, makes a lot of moves. The marketing department will make a lot of moves independent of, other parts of production. So I think we just kind of need to chalk it up to, marketing is doing their thing, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah. I do like the wallpaper, the background art that I was talking about in here. I'm not sure if this was just like a concept that an artist came up with and ran with it, or were they given some point of references to kind of include in the artwork? Because Johnny, I can't make out exactly what the T-shirt he's wearing. He's wearing a black T-shirt with some sort of a graphic on it, but he's rocking the headband and also the iconic Johnny red leather jacket. Daniel's in a white button-up shirt, but the one that caught my eye the most is Miguel in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that's pretty spoilery. I think everyone, if you've seen the trailer, he's going to be in the wheelchair for at least part of the season. But I like seeing him right there front and center in his wheelchair. He's still very much part of it. Mm-hmm. He's, and then you've got Amanda over there, and I know that's the dress that she wore in her season 2 photos. We've never seen that pose, but
I think Tori also.
Yes, that is Tori's season 2 photo, and I believe that's Hawk's. That is one of Marty Cove's too. So.
Matter of fact, Gianni, or I'm sorry, Dimitri, I think his is also too.
Yep, because of the clothes he has on. So the only ones that are new or are ones that we haven't seen are Miguel, and I'm actually kind of thinking that's his head from those photos. That's Sam from the beach. Daniel and Johnny are completely new. So,
I think Johnny is actually I think we've seen the very similar pose. I think they just added the red jacket. Honestly, I feel like he's in the black gi.
You're right. We have that. Amy found that gigantic. Like you can zoom in on his nose hair.
That's the one.
And it's an eagle on his shirt.
Okay. Yeah, the one that I saved isn't so good. Oh gosh, what was I gonna say? I don't know. I think we kind of like covered it all. Really, we talked about the articles, the release date. We're expecting more artwork and images to come out. Yeah, the stuff on IMDb just kind of touched that on that again. There's one in particular that I've seen a number of times already that I'm like, okay, that explains that, and I'm not sharing that one. So,
Uh, yeah, there was one that I had that reaction to, and then there's one that I had a "oh my god, what is going on" reaction to. And that one I think actually is, at least in my mind, more spoilery. Going to the chat for a second, Gabe Badley asking, why are you guys talking spinoff? Can we get through this series first? We're not
well,
really talking spinoff.
I mean, we mentioned it because it was in an article that was released today, so that's what we're talking about today.
Right. And the big three have been talking spinoffs for a few months now. You know, that it would that the potential is there to explore other avenues in the universe. And no, I get the feeling that, you know, just like with Stargate and NCIS and all the 10,000 Law and Order clones, that if we do get a spinoff, it will be while this one is still going.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's just something that they talked about. Nothing is greenlit except for season 4, which we knew that in the teaser just a couple months ago. That says season 4 is in training, so we know that much. Okay, this is just something to get excited for, and if it doesn't excite you, then hey, bah humbug.
I am excited about the season itself. I always have been. That level of anticipation and wanting to see it, and, you know, fanish devotion, I guess you could say, hasn't gone anywhere. I wish that the reveal had gone as smoothly as it was supposed to, because I think that would have been awesome. And I'm disappointed that it didn't work. I'm also aware that I'm one of the few people it didn't work for. You know, 99% of people that watch this show love this show, even, you know, the online fandom. The vast, vast, vast majority of people right now are beside themselves happy. And that's perfectly fine. I'm happy for all of you. I'm in that very small percentage of people that needs a minute to get over how badly it was done, and then I'll get around to it. So...
Yeah, it really sucks because that was something taken away from the big three, you know, that reveal, and I get it. People were like, you know, they're very excited to see a sort of confirmation, whether or not that it came from the big three. They also wanted to share it, but in my mind, I'm just like, wow, you know, it's like, you know, having your third child and you took all these photos, but then somebody else took photos and shared it without your knowledge, and now it's out there and some people saw it. That was taken away from them and they can't get that back. And they've been waiting for so long to tell us, you know, to tell the fans, hey, this is the date. And why didn't they tell us sooner? They're not at liberty to say. We talk about it on a lot of our streams that there's a lot of moving parts that we don't know about. We had Zach Robinson and Leo Bierenberg, who are the composers of both the video games and the series, and they talked about having like 12 lawyers in a room over music. Like, I can't even imagine, you know, all the people involved in announcing certain news. You know, you got different departments and different big wigs and all that, which we have no knowledge of. So I don't think anyone could sit there and be like, well, they could have told us. Well, if they could have, they would. And anybody that goes back and rewatches the interview where they came on to talk about the Netflix move, John talks about how, you know, how they wanted to tell us, but they couldn't. And what they did like was seeing how mad that people were getting, because it shows how much they love the show, and that they really enjoyed. But it hurt them just as much to not be able to tell us as much as they wanted to.
Right, and then the double sting of them not being able to tell us, and, you know, we're noticing dates disappearing, and they can't tell us, and they can't tell us, and there's supposed to be this fantastic payoff, and somebody in the social media department pushes the wrong button, and the entire thing flies out the window. At least for the few people, you know, the vast majority of people, again, didn't find out until they woke up this morning.
Right.
You know, how many people were up in the middle of the night to see this happen. I was on my way to bed. I was literally laying in bed when it happened. So, and I got up to, get on with Watch Party.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't go through the likes or anything like that, but I kind of like skimmed through the quote retweets and stuff like that. I'd say maybe about a dozen names I kind of recognized on Twitter, that shared it. And you mentioned it. It was late enough that I think the vast majority of the people hadn't seen it. It definitely wasn't quite out there on Instagram yet. So I think all things considered, it wasn't terrible. It's just the fact that a lot of content creators, maybe a lot of us preferred the element of the surprise, but it was definitely ruined for some, for sure.
Yeah, and just like Giftgate, in the immediate aftermath was this big, huge thing, and we're all running around and trying to get everyone that had posted gifts to take them down, and we're, banning them from being used on Facebook groups, and we're going to have to mute you if you do it. And that was the immediate aftermath of, the days after Giftgate. Now we look back on it and laugh. So maybe by the time that we start approaching season 4, then we'll be able to look back on last night and laugh. And I do really hope that poor social media intern still has a job today. I really do, because that was a hell of a screw up. So
yeah, it is a pretty big one, but kudos to the companions in our group page. Nobody shared what they saw. But maybe again, the majority of them were probably just asleep. So, but if it went up, I didn't see it. I'm sure one of the mods probably would have removed it immediately.
Yeah, Dorian was awake, Kaz was awake, all those people on the other side of the planet, they were all up.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people on the other side of the planet.
There are. We forget that sometimes. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but as far as U.S. viewers go, it was, it was the middle of the night. It was the Latin American side, I think, did it at like 11 o'clock, and by the time it made over to Watch Party and it was just before midnight. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure we'll get ready to wrap up here. Is there any comments or questions you kind of wanted to bring up before we close out?
I do not. I do want to apologize to Watch Party if he's still in the chat. For something that I very rarely do, that I did this morning, that I should not have done. Someone insulted me in the chat, and I reacted to it on the stream, and I apologize for that. I should not have done that. Should have ignored the kid.
And not as a guest anyway. If it's our channel, it's different.
Yeah.
Well,
the one guy that you can hear me tell him to shut up. That's because I was acting as a mod on the chat, and he was spamming the chat with poop in all capital letters over and over again. He's the one I told to shut up. I don't regret that one. But there were actually 2 different fans in there that were very rude, and I reacted to them, and I should not have. So I apologize for that.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't know if we'll have any episodes before the new year, but we're definitely looking forward. I don't know if I'll be up counting down, but I'm going to try to watch some of the episodes before I go to bed, wake up a little bit early and finish them. I can't imagine staying up for 5 hours straight with the newborn and all this. And but we'll see. We do have a few people that have already said that they will come on interview-wise. So definitely some things to look forward to. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, make sure you follow us, turn on the notifications. And, for those that listen to podcasts, we do have the audio podcast. So Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, whatever you use, just search for Cobra Kai Kompanion. You'll find us. Hit subscribe and you'll get the episodes once they release. So Brianna, where can people find you if they want to stay tuned for some upcoming edits that you're probably going to make once new images come out and all that good stuff?
All of our links to social media, mine and the podcast itself for Peter, are over in the description on the left-hand side. I am Brianna25 on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, fanfiction.net, and Archive of Our Own.
All right, fantastic. And for those that are looking for a community, we do have a group page. We do got a lot of rules, and we've had people who do not like our rules. But we have some pretty good discussions, and once those episodes go up on Netflix, we're gonna have individual threads for each episode, and we're gonna have post approval on to avoid any spoilers for those that are unable to binge immediately. And you'll be able to have discussions in the threads for those um, respective episodes, and it'll be a good time. So if that's something you're looking to do, again, check the descriptions and shoot a request over to our group.
Yes, and the mods will make sure you answer the questions. That's a big thing because the mods won't let you in if you don't answer them. And there's 2.
Right. And if you invite people to the group too, because there's a lot of that, let the person know so they know, because they just might be sitting there and unanswered questions. And I think after a couple of weeks, we just delete them. So keep the queue kind of light and clean, because that can get a little clustery.
Right.
So until we talk to you guys again, want to wish everyone happy holidays and a happy new year. And, Cobra Kai never dies.
That's it. We got it. Bye.